Stassi Shroeder, who was famously like the first cast member of Vanderpump Rules, right? Like I feel like I'm gonna give it to her. She's the queen of Vanderpump Rules.
100%.
She started this show. Like
Stassi, it's my birthday, Schroeder.
exactly. Like had she not been as chaotic as she was in season one, I don't think we would have gotten to season two necessarily.
Oh,
Um,
100%. And we've already talked about like her confessionals and like just like how messy she was.
yeah,
No one would want to see it now, but then it was,
it was great.
chef's kiss.
It was incredible. Yeah, it would be like called cyberbullying right now.
Yeah.
But back then it was just mean girl drama. Love it. Like it was great. But yeah, so Stassi was famously on season 1 to 8 of the show. She was technically deemed like a recurring character in season 4, but honestly, like the level of drama, she's not in the first half of the season, but she comes in for the season, like the second half of the season. She's like literally the star of the what is it called, the mid-season trailer. Like the mid-season trailer is like exclusively Stassi. So for somebody who's only like a recurring character, like A, they talk about her the first half the entire time, and B, she takes up the entire second half. So like I don't see how she could ever just be considered recurring, but
Yeah.
alas, not my bridge to die on. Hill to die on, bridge to what climb? I don't know. Anyways, but yeah, so Stassi famously was with Jax at the very beginning of this show. We last see her in season 8 when she's dating and then becomes engaged to her boyfriend slash fiance, Beau Clark, who I absolutely loved. He himself was on season 7 and season 8. He was just like a recurring cast member in the first season, that season 7, and then he was promoted to a full-time cast member in season 8. And unfortunately, the last that we see of them is at that reunion. And yeah, as you say, like they basically, I think they actually technically got fired like in between the airing of Reunion Part 2 and Reunion Part 3. So like we're watching them kind of like talk about their relationship and like all of these things like while they've already been like
You're
axed from
right.
Bravo. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah, because I think it was also really messy because then like we find out that Max and Brett had also been fired for some like racially insensitive tweets or that they had written a few years back. But like on the show, you see Lisa Vanderpump basically forgiving that.
Yeah, well, and I think that they were hoping that what Max and Brett were going to be able to do is they were going to be able to kind of like apologize adequately, and it would kind of like help, keep them on the show. But either like just like kind of like the time that it was like taking place during, it was just too like controversial to kind of keep them on the show. They also probably didn't test well. Like
I don't think they tested well at all.
How amazing their apology had been. Like I don't know if it would have kept them on the show anyways. But yeah, you're right. Like watching Lisa Vanderpump being like, okay, you have been dubbed. Like you are no longer. You're fine. You're free to go. And it's like, oh no, you're actually free to go. You're off the show. Bye.
Yeah, we meant that you're free to leave. Like you're actually free to
go. Get out of here. Go home. Yeah, so that's unfortunately the last that we see of Stassi and Beau, but it's certainly not the last of them in general, right? Like Stassi very much kind of like has rebounded from this firing. I think she's come back kind of like bigger and stronger than ever. Like maybe she's not as like big or whatever as she was before. But she's relaunched her own podcast, and she must have been able to keep like the IP or whatever, because after she got dropped from Bravo, she got dropped from her PR agency, she got dropped from her like podcast label, so like all of that was gone. But then she relaunched her podcast last year in 2022, so she must have been able to retain the IP rights for it. So that's good. I did smart business advice out there in the world. And then Beau and her also started their own podcast as well, called The Good, the Bad, and the Baby, which is obviously about their like journey kind of like becoming parents, having Hartford, who I think was born in like January 2021. So I think the podcast came out like a couple months after that. And that's like a Patreon exclusive where like it's behind a paywall. Like you can't get it unless you're willing to pay for it.
Right.
Which I appreciate that, like get that bag. But yeah, so that's kind of the last that we've seen them, and that's kind of what they're up to now. They are expecting an additional child. Another little baby is on its way, a little baby boy. So that I guess he'll be born like probably soonish. Like I don't know, this summer, this fall.
I'd imagine. I think she's like pretty pregnant, and she's doing pretty pregnant. Her tours, right? As well. Yeah. Oh my god, some of the videos coming out of the tour is super cute. Like I think they had Hartford up, like her daughter for her 35th birthday, and she was like singing Frozen like on stage.
Oh yeah, that's adorable, so cute.